Your brain can detect what science can't. We've built telescopes that can see to the very edge of the known universe, and microscopes that can peer into the fabric of matter itself. We can map the afterglow of the Big Bang and trace the neural pathways of a memory. But what if I told you that all of that technology, all of that genius, is pretty much blind? Blind to over 85% of what's really out there. The universe, it turns out, is built on an invisible architecture, and some scientists are starting to wonder if the only tool that can truly detect it is already inside your head. Section 1. The Invisible Universe. To get a handle on this mystery, you first have to appreciate its scale. Everything we've ever seen, every star, every galaxy, every planet, and every atom that makes you you, accounts for less than 5% of the total universe. The rest is a cosmic puzzle, split into two parts. About 27% is something called dark matter. It doesn't emit, absorb, or reflect any light, which makes it completely invisible to all our instruments. We only know it's there because we can see its gravitational pull on the things we can see. It's like a hidden scaffolding that holds galaxies together, stopping them from flying apart. And then there's the even bigger piece, dark energy. Making up roughly 68% of the cosmos, this is the mysterious force that seems to be pushing the entire universe apart, making its expansion speed up. So when you look up at the night sky, you're not seeing the whole picture. You're just seeing the glittering foam on the shore of a vast, dark ocean. An ocean whose true nature is one of the greatest unsolved problems in science. For decades, the leading idea was that dark matter was made of slow-moving particles, a kind of cold, invisible dust. But now, even that's being challenged. Some fascinating recent studies, analyzing how light bends around distant galaxies, suggest dark matter might not be a particle at all. Instead, it could be a fuzzy quantum field, behaving more like a wave than a solid clump. This isn't a proven discovery, but it's a leading alternative idea that would completely shift our understanding of the universe's building blocks. We are surrounded and shaped by a reality that our best technology can't directly see. This isn't science fiction. It's the accepted, standard model of cosmology. An invisible architecture governs everything. And that forces us to ask a pretty profound question. If our instruments are blind to this fundamental layer of reality, have we been looking in the wrong place? Section 2. The Universe Within. Now, let's turn our gaze from the cosmos to the most complex object we know of, the human brain. With its 86 billion or so neurons connected by a quadrillion synapses, the brain is an electrochemical marvel. It runs on principles we're only just starting to figure out. And just like the cosmos, the brain has its own dark matter, mysteries our current models can't solve. Neuroscientists can map which parts of the brain light up when we see a face or learn a skill. But the central question of how a physical process, a flood of ions and chemicals, creates a subjective feeling, the experience of consciousness itself, is a total mystery. It's a question so tough that philosophers simply call it the hard problem. And here's where it gets really interesting. We spend a third of our lives in a state that dramatically changes our consciousness. Sleep. From an evolutionary point of view, sleep is a paradox. It makes us vulnerable and cuts us off from the outside world. So why do we do it? Science tells us it's for brain maintenance. In deep, slow-wave sleep, the brain isn't off. It's entering a different mode. It's busy clearing out metabolic waste and, crucially, consolidating memories. During this time, our link to the external world fades, and our internal world takes over. But what if this nightly retreat from the senses serves another purpose? What if, by quieting the noise of the waking mind, the brain becomes sensitive to something else? We know our normal consciousness is a bottleneck. It can only process so much. During sleep, especially in dreams, the rules bend. Our minds create whole worlds, mixing memory and emotion into strange narrative tapestries. This process isn't random. It's a deep, creative reinterpretation of our lives, shaped by who we are. It's a different kind of intelligence, one that plays by different rules than the logical waking mind. Section 3. Bridging the known and the unknown. This is where we take a leap from established science into the realm of fascinating, if speculative, theory. If 85% of the universe is an invisible, interconnected structure, and the brain is the most sensitive instrument we know, could there be a link? Could the brain, in certain states, act less like a generator of consciousness and more like a receiver? A few bold physicists and philosophers have dared to ask this. Theories like panpsychism suggest that consciousness isn't something the brain creates, but is a fundamental property of the universe itself, like mass or spin. In this view, the universe might just have its own form of awareness, and our brains are biological structures that evolved to tune in to it. One of the most famous theories in this space is orchestrated objective reduction, or ORCH-OR, proposed by Nobel laureate Sir Roger Penrose and anesthesiologist Stuart Hameroff. They suggest consciousness comes from quantum processes happening inside the microtubules of our neurons. In their model, every moment of conscious experience is a tiny quantum event, a process that's harnessing physics already built into the fabric of the universe. Now, to be crystal clear, these are fringe ideas. Most neuroscientists believe consciousness is simply what happens when you have a complex enough neural network. And physicists point out that dark matter seems to interact with normal matter only through gravity, a force far too weak to affect a single neuron. The warm, wet, and noisy environment of the brain is also seen as a major barrier to the delicate quantum states this theory requires. There is no known physical mechanism that connects the dark scaffolding of the cosmos to the chatter inside your skull. But just because we haven't found the evidence doesn't mean it isn't there. The very nature of dark matter and dark energy is that they're unknown. Scientists admit we might need a whole new kind of physics to understand them. What if there are forces and interactions we haven't discovered yet? What if the brain's incredible complexity makes it sensitive in ways a particle detector, built to look for something specific, just isn't? Think about your own life. Have you ever had a powerful gut feeling, a moment of profound intuition, or a sudden insight that seemed to appear out of nowhere? Have you had a dream so vivid it felt more real than your waking life? We usually write these off as quirks of brain chemistry. But what if they're more? Neuroscience shows that intuition isn't magic. It's the brain rapidly processing vast amounts of information, past experiences, patterns, and emotional cues, without our conscious awareness. But what if some of those signals aren't just from our own memories? What if they are fleeting moments where our own consciousness resonates with a deeper layer of reality? This isn't about the supernatural. It's about being honest about the huge limits of our current understanding. We have two colossal mysteries on our hands: the invisible architecture of the universe and the origin of our own conscious experience. Is it really so crazy to think that these two great unknowns might in some way be connected? So what do you think? Have you ever had an experience that felt like it came from beyond your everyday mind? Share your story in the comments. I read every single one, and I'm genuinely curious to hear what you have to say. Conclusion. We live in a strange and beautiful paradox. Our own science tells us with certainty that we are mostly blind to the true nature of reality. The vast majority of the cosmos is a dark sector that we can't see or touch, yet it dictates the fate of everything. At the same time, we each carry an inner cosmos, our own consciousness, whose origin is just as mysterious. Maybe the next great breakthroughs won't come from building bigger telescopes to look further out, but from finding new ways to look deeper in. Maybe our moments of deep sleep, meditation, or sudden intuition aren't just neural noise. Perhaps they are the faintest of signals from the universe's hidden dimensions. What if your brain isn't just a biological computer? What if it's an antenna, slowly learning to tune into a cosmic broadcast? And what if your deepest insights aren't just feelings, but brief, fleeting glimpses of the 85% of reality that science, for now, cannot see? The answer is out there, and perhaps it's in here, too.